first thing you need to do to make this scrunchie is, if you plan on making a lot of them, it's probably a good idea to make a pattern piece. And I kind of was inspired by my viewer who asked me to do this video, so I thought I'd make a pattern because I think I'm going to make a lot more of these. I want you to see my pattern piece is 12.5 inches long by 4.5 inches wide, and you only need to cut one piece of fabric because you're going to do a fold over and sew down. And I've got about a 6 1/4 inch of 1/4 inch elastic here, and I wouldn't use really wide elastic, but you could use the 1/2 inch if you don't have the 1/4 inch. But I just happen to have bukus of this 1/4 inch elastic, so I'm going to use it up. And the first thing we want to do before we even start sewing is I'm going to turn this fabric over on the wrong side, and I'm going to press one end about 1/4 inch over, and it does make a difference. It makes it easier to get it neater in the end, so I'm just doing that on one end. I'm going to leave the other end raw. Okay, now what we want to do is fold this over, right sides facing together, and we're just going to stitch down this side here where we folded it over. We're not going to stitch the ends closed right now. My machine set on medium speed, 2.5 stitch length, and let's go. And now we've sewn down that side right here, and we've got the ends open, and we just need to turn it. That seam that you did should be on the side. You shouldn't press that to the middle. You should press it to the side. I'm going to run to my other table and press this right quick, and then I'll be back to show you the next step. Okay, now that I have this pressed and I've got that seam on the side here, what I want to do is get a fairly large safety pin, and I'm going to put it in this elastic, and the seam here is on the side here. Now through the raw edge, I'm going to feed this elastic through with the safety pin. I don't want it to go all the way through. Once I get it in there and I've got it where I can grab hold of it, you want to bring it down to this seam here and just lay it kind of right on the, it's a little tricky, right on the edge of that seam if you can. Just kind of lay it against it, and then I just want to sew over it real quick to keep it in place. Okay, once I've done that, I've still got my pin in here. I know you guys can't see it, but I can feel it in there. I'm going to bring the other end of this up through here. This is just a little bit of a tricky part. You want to kind of fold this open so that you're not sewing this closed, because we want to put this other end through that end. That's kind of a small scrunchie. Probably need to make it a little longer, the fabric, but anyway, I've got this right here, and I'm going to try to sew this without sewing the opening closed. Just a quick little tiny stitch to keep it from moving around. So now we've got our elastic there, and it looks kind of, you know, it's hard to tell what you're doing, but this is the end that's open. Well, the raw edge, I mean. And this is the end without the raw edge, and we're going to put the one end in the other one, feed it through about a 1/2 inch. If you can do that. If you got the skills and you can sew this with the machine, you can do it that way, and it's a little bit quicker. So I'm going to give it a try. If not, you can hand stitch this using a blind stitch, going all the way around when you feed it through. Make sure that everything is fed through and that it's in there good, so it's not going to move around once you start sewing. You can see right here I've got it fed through, and I'm just very carefully going over this and doing a little back stitch. So there you have it, a little scrunchie. This one actually is on the small side. If you want to make it for an adult, I would do, I would say the wisest thing to do would be to do 18 inches for the fabric. And you could still do the same width. That's a pretty good width, the 4.5 inches wide. But I would do 18 inches and then maybe 8 inches of elastic, because this is really small. It's more like for a child. So yeah, but anyway, that is how you make a scrunchie. So peace, y'all. Bye bye.